So Niners have trade interest in cornerback Jaylon Johnson from the Bears. This was reported by Benjamin Albright. Let's talk about
Yeah,
him.
I saw that.
The Niners are interested in Jaylon Johnson, cornerback from the Bears. What do you know about him? I
Uh,
got you. Let me tell you right now, he was a second
yeah,
round pick. He's 24. Right now, he's giving up a quarterback rating of 24. Okay. He
pretty
has
good.
2 picks. He's been targeted 23 times. He's given up 11 catches this year for 105 yards, no touchdowns. He's playing like a lockdown corner, although it's his 3rd year in the league. In the previous 3, he was okay.
Right.
But he's balling right now. And to get him is probably going to cost a 2nd-round pick. Should the Niners trade a 2nd-round pick for Jaylon Johnson?
I think right now it's the most realistic glaring need is corner, right? It's something they absolutely need, and it's something that they can realistically get. The biggest need they need is an offensive line, in my opinion, over a corner. But that's not realistic. I don't see that happening. You can't really just insert an offensive lineman at this point in the season. So corner is a realistic option, and I think Jaylon Johnson would be a good option there. I think they should do it. I think they're going to do something like that at Jaylon Johnson's level, not like a Patrick Surtain. I don't see that happening. They need to keep those 1st-round picks, and I think that's what it would require for Surtain. But Jaylon Johnson, I think that's realistic. I think that's what we're going to see. Maybe not him.
They
but
need to
somebody
go
like
get
that.
Jaylon Johnson right now.
Mhm.
If they want to win the Super Bowl, because their secondary, as we just saw, isn't good enough. Like, that's
Super
what it looked
Bowl.
like against the Bengals. What about when they face Philly or Kansas City or the Buffalo Bills? Like, that's not near good enough. Charvarius Ward is their best corner by far, and he's not good.
I don't
He
think
commits.
I don't think Grant. That's the thing is I don't think one player. I don't think Jaylon Johnson is the key to winning the Super Bowl for the 49ers. Yes, it'll help. They need defensive back help for sure. But their problems are bigger than that. Is
That's
Jalen
true.
is Jalen
But that's a
Johnson
big problem. Like,
it'll
Isaiah
address a
Oliver
need.
can't play.
Yeah, well, it'll
Isaiah Oliver
address
can't
a
play.
need for sure.
Yeah.
But is it going to stop them from leading the NFL in penalties? Is it going to help them score more than 17 points a game? I don't think so.
But that being said, like, this secondary can't remain that. Like, Isaiah Oliver needs to go. I think he's given up 20 of his last 20 targets. Gotta
Yeah.
go. And Diamador Lenore isn't much better. And Charvarius Ward is the best guy they got, and he's not good. So this is not that's not a championship secondary. What they did yesterday, maybe Brock's performance was a aberration, but that secondary was not. Like, they tried soft zone coverage in the first half. They tried press man coverage in the second half. They got burned either way. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's some of the worst secondary play I've ever seen at Levi Stadium.
Here's what I think is going on with the defense, Grant. And I think it's far beyond Wilkes. I think what we see in the NFL, what's going on is quarterbacks are getting the ball out quick. So this billion-dollar, I'm exaggerating, defensive line that the 49ers have is basically useless because they're going to get the ball out quick now. And then you're playing the soft zone or you're trying to play man with corners that aren't really good at it. And so you're just leaving guys exposed. The pass rushers are not getting to quarterbacks like they have in the past because teams now are prepared for that. They're getting the ball out quickly. So what you need is corners that can play press man coverage and stick with you. And we don't have those guys. And if you drop back in the zone, they're just going to eat it up and dunk their way all the way downfield. I think that's the trend right now that what we're seeing in the NFL. And I think that's the problem with the 49ers defense.
Absolutely. It's like they're playing this real soft, too high safety, 7 in the box, off zone coverage. Like, as conservative as it gets, you have a lot more talent. You don't need to be
Right.
playing like that. But that's what they're doing. And yeah, I mean, that's maybe that's what Wilkes feels he has to do because the corners aren't good. And frankly, he's right. So
Yeah.
yeah, they should get Jaylon Johnson if they're serious about winning a Super Bowl. Because even getting, as you said, even getting Jaylon Johnson doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be Super Bowl favorites. But not getting Jaylon Johnson means that I don't really take this team seriously. This defense has huge problems. Isaiah Oliver, man, that was arrogant. Replacing Jimmy Ward with Isaiah Oliver was a big mistake. Big
Yeah.
mistake.
Big mistake. One that I predicted, like I had a plan for the 49ers to win the Super Bowl. They didn't follow it. But one of those key things was retain Jimmy Ward. Jimmy Ward is so important, not only for his ability as a player, but his leadership qualities, the swagger that he brings. the enforcer role that he has. He's another Greenlaw out there, right? He's very physical and dominant, and he brings the pain. Jimmy Ward offers so much. That was a huge, huge mistake for them to let him go, in my opinion.
Agree. James Welsh, it's been 7 years. It is distinctly possible the Niners have peaked and they failed. A slow disintegration from here, many other cases in NFL history. Yeah, man. I mean, look at how old this team is. Trent Williams, Juszczyk, Kittle,
I think about this,
Armstead,
bro.
Hargrave.
Think about this, Grant. Well, maybe we'll talk about it later, but if Brock starts against the Jags, which I think he's going to, and he doesn't do, if he plays like he has been the last 3 games, then they pop in Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold plays like Sam Darnold. They're going to be looking for a quarterback next year.
True.
It's
In the first
complete
Chris
disaster.
Delarico says, Grant and I have been saying that the roster is off for years. I want them to win, but they are getting what they deserve. Maybe the 2019 season was the outlier and they are just a one and done playoff team.
I'm telling you, it's mental, man.
I think what we're seeing is a severe lack of leadership on this team. Severe lack. And they had it. D'Amico, Saleh, even McDaniel too. But like D'Amico and Saleh were big. They were sort of leading from the back seat. And now you got Steve Wilkes and Kyle Shanahan pointing the finger at each other. F it, sell the farm for Burns and Horn, says I'm old Greg. Yeah, just go back to your minor league team, the Panthers, and get some more of their best players. Jack Jackson says, is it time to have this Trey Lance conversation? I still think Trey Lance is a better upside quarterback than Brock Purdy, especially since Trey Lance was willing to invest in Shanahan. What's your thoughts? I don't know, man. I don't know.
Let me give my one thought. Like, in regards to Trey Lance, he's gone. Do I think he had a better upside? Yeah, I've always said that. I still think that. But the one thing that is current when it comes to Trey Lance is I see a lot of people who wanted to write off Trey Lance after 3.5 games tell us that we need to be patient with Brock Purdy after 16. Now, me personally, I want to give every quarterback 2 to 3 years, and that's why I thought it was stupid to write off Trey Lance after 3.5 games, and that's why I'm not going to write off Brock Purdy after 15 or whatever it is. But if you were one of those people that wrote off Trey Lance after 3.5 games, I don't want to hear you telling everyone to slow down about writing off Brock Purdy.
I feel like the reason they traded Trey Lance is because they lied to themselves or convinced themselves that Brock Purdy was the real deal. They didn't need to hedge their bets at quarterback. They found their franchise guy. So just get rid of the distraction that they created and have a boring backup and a boring third string quarterback.
That's exactly it.
Hope and pray that Brock Purdy is what they thought he was. And now after 3 straight losses and Kyle Shanahan flipping out in the sidelines like he did with Jimmy Garoppolo, you're like, maybe you should have hedged. You had 2 young quarterbacks. Why did you want one?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Anyone that watched that training camp, I don't know many people that watched the training camp. I watched it. I know you watched it. That actually thought, oh, damn, Sam Darnold just whooped Trey Lance ass. Nobody thought that. If anybody, people thought Trey Lance won. And it's 100% correct. A lot of people saying, oh, well, Trey Lance couldn't even beat out Sam Darnold. That's why he's gone. No, dude. He was gone because they didn't want him to be a distraction from Brock Purdy.
He never had a chance. Ethan M says Kyle is the root of all these problems. All the years of his poor decision-making is catching up. He lets his scheme get in the way and doesn't adjust.